wondering, how do you guys keep, because we are often asking for jobs, we are asking to be hired, but then also once you get the job, you need to be confident and secure in your artistry. And so I'm wondering, how do you guys balance the kind of servant archetype and the queen archetype in your work?
There's definitely power in no, right? Like there's power in no. And as people, women especially, like you don't say no because like you don't, I mean, this went when we were talking about the pay gap between women and men. Like women would just, take the offer that was given to them and men say no, fuck you, give me more. But in terms of work, yeah, there's the whole, I guess it's like it's a hard thing because you want to stand up for yourself. You want to say yes, especially in the beginning. You take the roles, you take all the shitty roles, you take the stripper role. I wouldn't do it now. I would. And that I guess that's the answer. Like there are more. I have not only just in myself, and it has nothing to do with financial success at all because I'm still working in the financial aspect of it, but it has more of like the authority that I have. I'm comfortable enough in my profession and knowing that I'm working as an actress in my craft to not take something because it's demeaning or it's not something I believe in or it's not a role I could connect to in any way. So there's the no, and that's the power, but it comes really from in time, and it really does come from within. But I do think that no is not heard often. And when you say no, and it could be in a really nice way, like, no, I'm not willing to take this much money, or no, I'm not willing to do this role. I think people then are immediately like, oh, well, wait a minute. And then they'll readjust and come back. Like,
You have to teach people how to treat you.
Totally. And it's your job to do that. It's nobody else's job. You are the authority. You hopefully you have a good manager, a good agent that could advocate for you. But really, at the end of the day, it's you, and you have to feel that for yourself. But that's all I'll say about that. But
yeah, Margot, Clara, do you have anything to add?
I mean, it's certainly something that I personally am working on, is feeling like I'm good enough, that I deserve the role. There's a lot of what's the word? What's that?
Anxiety, or
there's anxiety, there's stress, there's also imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
Yes, there's a lot of that I'm working on. But I think, again, in line with what we were talking about before, if you treat the servant and the queen diametrically opposed, but I think if you get the job and you walk in and you just are there to work with other people, and you see them as people, you see them as your collaborators, I think it's a nice way to enter the conversation, to be like, let me see who it is that I'm working with today. Let me meet you where you're at. And if I can approach it from that way, I feel less like, oh my God, I have something to prove, or oh my God, I'm better than this person, which I never really feel ever.
Yeah.
But if you sort of are like, okay, I'm going to meet you here and I'm going to be present with you, it's sort of kind of not so far from just acting itself,
Yeah.
Right?
Fake it till you make it.
Yeah. So I don't necessarily feel the push and pull that much if I sort of reframe it and look at it that way.
That's great. Margot, did you want to add anything?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that I think that if you look at everything, just like Clara, you were saying, if you look at everything as a new experience and kind of excited about, I always look at every new job as like my first day at school, and there's the butterflies in your stomach, and there's the anticipation, and you're packing your lunch the night before, and you're picking out your clothes the night before, and it's like you're questioning yourself, you're questioning who you're going to sit with at the cafeteria, and if you're lucky enough to get to that point, it's so exciting that you can still feel the butterflies. So I think it's a constant reminder whenever I do feel those butterflies in my stomach that I'm doing the right thing. I'm on the right path, because it's only the wrong path when those butterflies stop. I'm lucky enough that I can still continue to pack a new bag every once in a while because people are hiring. And I know that a lot of people aren't as lucky, and a lot of that comes with luck. but I take every single thing with gratitude. There's a lot of times that I question myself, and that's actually one of the reasons why I showed up at Scott Freeman's studio, is, you know, like a nice little plug for the studio, because literally I was looking for a teacher and a place and community that I could build my confidence again, because even though I was on set, even though I had a job, even though that job was not in danger at all of being taken away from me, I still questioned myself, because it was a bit of imposter syndrome. And, but it was also just like, I was watching myself way too much, and I was really critiquing myself way too much, and I was in my head a little bit way too much. And I had to kind of step back and almost jump into another community where I wasn't able to tear myself down.